Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of my live tea tasting. I've got a great blend for you guys today, and I mean blend this time again because it is a chai, and this one is from Apothecary Teas, and I have been sitting here. This thing has been sitting in my collection for quite some time, and it's about time for me to open it up and see what it has to offer. So, for those of you who are not familiar, Apothecary Teas is a tea shop that I ran into randomly during C2E2. I believe it was a year or two ago. And I have been trying to find the right time to open it up, and today's it. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and read off the ingredients. So right now it starts off with black tea. Then it has cinnamon, ginger, cardamom, clove, fennel seeds, black peppercorn, and nutmeg. And hey, Sneha, welcome. And let me tell you, like, this thing it smelled so good, but so spicy. Like, right before I started streaming, it gave me a bit of a sneeze attack. Which, I mean, it's a good thing because that means that it's nice and spicy and aromatic. Right now my nose is still a little bit stuffy, but I'm okay with that because, as you guys know, when I start drinking, it'll start to clear me out. You know what? I should get a little bit ahead of the curve, get myself a little bit of a napkin here because I know it's gonna, I know it's gonna come sooner or later. Hey, Teresa, welcome. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and explore this tea below. Hey, Ma, welcome. So, let's take a look at the brew, and I love the way that it looks. It has a very apple cidery look to it, in color and form, because you can see it's not as clear as some teas are. This one does have some sediment, and that's usually good for a chai because all of the ingredients are culminating and it's seeping off the leaf and off the blend and going into the brew. So we have a whole mess of like really solid, strong ingredients in here. So if we take a look, you can see this is a very chunky tea. They were not playing around. We got the cardamom pods right here, unopened. So you'll get that juiciness to it. Traditionally, what you'll want to do is you'll want to crack it open, but it's not necessary. It's more if you want a heavier spice to it, but it's not necessary. We have the cloves. Oh, I just had one and it went away. We got the cinnamon bark right here. Nice big chunks of it. You can probably see it better. Oh no, wait, that's a clove. The wrong piece fell out of my hand. There we go. So we have a clove here and the cinnamon bark here. So it's nice and chunky. We got the fennel seeds. My fingers are too big. Right here. So I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit tiny. Let me see if I can hold it up this way. Yeah, you guys can see that a little bit better. Now, what I've noticed about the black tea is that it's not CTC. It's a longer twisted leaf. So that will more than likely give you a flavor. Does not come out if you don't crack the cardamom. I mean, it does, but it's very, very muted. What I'm assuming is that the spice from here gives it a... the spice from here is more reliant on the cloves and the black peppercorn. If you don't crack the cardamom pods, you'll be getting more of a... How do I put this? Like a slight spicy smoke to it. It's more like, you know how if you have, let's say, a stick of gum, and you lick the paper side of the foil, you only have that, like, a slight bit of that flavor along with the paper kind of taste to it. That's what you're going to get out of the cardamom. You're not going to get the full spice flavor. It's just going to be severely muted. You know what? Let's test that out, because we have one right here. And it's kind of like a spicy, unsalted peanut. Like, it's got that kind of texture to it. If I bite it, woo! Oh wow, that scent just broke through all of my my sinus issues. Woo. But okay, there we go. I cracked it, and then there we go. I gotta kind of peel it back a little bit. All right, now let me. Oh yeah. There's a severe difference between having it uncracked and cracked. And woo, that is delicious. It's the kind of thing that I wouldn't mind sucking on it, because the flavor is pretty, like, spicy on the nutty side. And notes of pepper. Oh man, that's delicious. I love nice fresh cardamom. So that being said, let's take a look at the wet leaf, the steeped blend. You can see there's not a whole lot of difference. They're loaded up on the cardamom. Again, it's not cracked, so it's not going to be like super spicy. And the leaves, well, that's surprising. The leaves are a little bit green. So they're not using a deeply oxidized black tea. I don't know if you guys can make out the color. If you look against my my shirt, it's got green tint to it. It looks a lot more green in person. So it's a lightly oxidized black tea. I'm struggling to even categorize it as a black tea, because it is that green. But a lot of the time when the leaf opens up and it has been oxidized, sometimes it still remains a little bit green, which is fine. I don't know, but this one seems to be still very green for a tea. Yeah, this one is even better. If we take a look at that. It's very light for a black tea. I mean, that might work for this blend. I don't know, but we'll see. So the smell alone is very light and refreshing. It's not what I'm used to when I drink a chai. What I usually find is you get that smoky Assam tea with a little bit of bitterness on the back end, and it brings out, like, that's very hidden. Hey Izzy, welcome. Was it the moment you come in, you see stuff on my finger? Looks like mocha. I assure you, had you been here 2 seconds earlier, you would know that it's not mocha, even though it is green. But I'm expecting a lighter flavor from a greener leaf. Well, let's go ahead and take our first slurp, see how that goes. Oh, that's nice. Okay. So, as I suspected, they really are relying on the spice for flavor. All the ingredients, all the herbs, and the tea is kind of taking a back seat to it. So that being said, you're not getting that heavy, smoky bitterness of a CTC Assam. You're getting, it's closer to a Darjeeling, which I'm assuming it's Darjeeling and not Ceylon, but it could be a Ceylon. They don't specify it here because they just say it's a black tea. It's very, very light. So much so that I'm thinking it's a Darjeeling, but I could be wrong. It's either Darjeeling or Ceylon. It's light, refreshing. It's very, very reminiscent of an apple cider without the rock fruit sweetness behind it. So you're getting a kind of earthy sweetness instead. And it's got that semi-soft spice. Like, I'm not feeling it down here. Maybe it's going to take a couple more sips. I don't know. But so far, it's very much cidery. It's like chai light, and I like it. Usually when I go for a chai, I look for something that just like hits you back here and you feel that warmth in your core. I'm not quite getting that, but it's a very light spice to it. And it's a little bit on the sweet side, probably from the nutmeg. And the cardamom is a little bit stronger than I anticipated. That's really strange because normally, like, it won't. I guess it's because there's such a high volume of that uncracked cardamom that that is where that spice is coming from. Had they cracked it, they wouldn't have to use as much. And honestly, like, when you crack a cardamom, I was able to do it with my hands. Just, like, squeeze it. If they just had a machine that was crack, that's it, and just give it a whack and let it go on its way, it'll be fine. But that would deepen the spice levels, and I don't know if that's what they were going for. They probably used the cardamom in this case to give it a lighter flavor. Because, like, it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just spice-wise, underwhelming. Flavor-wise, it's great. Like, if you, I know a lot of people who don't really like spices or spicy teas. This might actually be better for them. It's got a nice peppery smoke to it. Like, on the finish, it tastes like the black pepper and the cloves. It's probably a little bit more on the light side. That's why I was only able to find one clove in here. There's probably very few. Look, I found another one right here. So the cloves are very, very light. The black pepper, I assume they have, it says black peppercorn. I haven't seen any. Oh, wait. gotta dig a little bit. Yeah, here we go. I opened my mouth too early. I was able to find a black peppercorn. Again, it's not cracked. So you can tell Jimmy had nothing to do with this. Because Jimmy cracks the corn. I don't care. Terrible. Terrible, I know. I'll be hearing from it later. For those of you who got that joke, I appreciate you. Ooh, okay. It was like, yeah, that really was bad. I'll freely admit it. That was terrible. Right now, I'm tasting a heavy peppercorn across the side of my tongue. Like right on the edge. A little bit smoky, a little bit spicy. There's a nice little texture going down my throat. Like I feel a slight graininess. Again, it's comparable to that apple cider. You know how when you squeeze apple, you get that pulp? Terry and Lucy are singing it? Oh, absolutely. Are they dancing too? That's the question. Oh, man. So I'm getting a really nice peppery flavor on my palate. I guess now that it's cooling down, that's the next step. Because it wasn't there before. It's, gosh. Okay. Like, it's literally changing on my palate as I speak. It's gone from sweet to, to spicy smoke. Oh, excuse me. And the cardamom is starting to sneak up a little bit. I'm tasting the cardamom down here. And as I breathe out, the cardamom is following. That is really interesting. I don't know if I've ever had that before. Usually the cardamom, when it's stronger, it encompasses the entire palate. But in this case, it's very much like, how do I put this? It's sort of effervescent, where it's starting from the back of my throat and coming out. It's very breathy, if that makes sense. I'm really liking it. Like it's not as heavy as I'm used to when I drink a good chai, and I've been drinking it with milk lately. But this is really like it's doing its job. I'm starting. It took a while to get there, but it's starting to like warm up my core down here. And it's starting to like affect now. I'm starting to feel like a little bit of a bite in the back of my throat. Is there? Oh, there is ginger. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that there was ginger because I was tasting that that sweet spice, and I was like, I wanted to make sure that I described it correctly. But it's really sitting on my tongue. That smokiness is enveloping my full palate. Now, keep in mind, they said to steep it for 3 to 5 minutes at 212. I did it at the full 5 minutes at 212. and it's been like it hasn't oversteeped, which I'm grateful for, because I was hoping that since they used a Darjeeling leaf rather than a CTC Assam, Darjeelings tend to burn easier. But this one, it holds its own. Probably because all these spices behind it are really doing its job and masking any bitterness. I like it. It's not bitter or astringent at all. Oof. Okay, there we go. Anyway, I'm going to open up the floor now. Questions, comments, anything you want to talk about, now's the time. This is, as I always do, I'm going to answer Teresa's question first. What would I pair this with? What food? And I want to say this one, because it's so light, it's not a very heavy or spicy blend. Milk and sugar in this tea. I mean, you can put milk and sugar in any tea. I think you would like it. Because I mean, it's already sweet as it is. It doesn't need the milk and sugar, but milk and sugar would definitely not hurt it. Even as a milk tea in itself, I might just use this in one of our milk chais and really put it to the test. I don't know if it'll hold up, because like milk is thicker and creamier, and so it has to fight that much harder to be noticed. And without the black tea, without the CTC behind it, I don't know if it has that capability, but I'm willing to try. And I'm sure, like, since you love my milk tea so much anyway, you won't complain. But I would probably put maybe some honey in there instead of the sugar, because the sugar has a very strong sweetness. Honey would mellow it out a little bit. So that's my recommendation, milk and honey, but milk and sugar would work as well. As for the pairing, this is giving off like very fall flavor. So maybe a fall kind of plate would do well. Something like chicken, roasted chicken, with vegetables, maybe a side of mashed potatoes, something along those lines. A dessert, possibly, since it is already naturally sweet. Maybe an ice cream. Maybe I don't know. Maybe an ice cream, maybe a wafer. I can see vanilla wafers doing well with this, because it adds that little bit of sweetness without bringing down the overall palate. Ooh. I'm surprised I'm not like dripping. Like my nose is still a little bit congested. But I guess like that's what I get, because it's not super spicy. I'm not getting hit by that drain. And I swear, like before this stream, my nose was fine. It just it gave me that sneezing attack, which it kind of threw me off a little bit. But that being said, I'm still able to smell it pretty well. Ooh, excuse me. And the flavor is bold enough to get past. Oh, excuse me, my sense of smell. Ooh. All right. Ooh, I almost forgot to do the Thomas taste. Let's go ahead. Okay, so doing the Thomas taste, I'm getting an overwhelming flavor of the cardamom. Like I'm barely getting anything else, and it might be a combination of the cooler temperature and the concentration of the cardamom, all the pepper, all the sweetness. It's kind of gone into the background. It's basically just after it cools off, it's like drinking liquid cardamom. Sorry, I'm breathing out because like I'm trying to find something else in there. At this stage in the game, all the other ingredients are kind of like taking a back seat. Or maybe that's just what I'm subconsciously concentrating on. I don't know. Right now, I'm just kind of overwhelmed by cardamom. I mean, that's not a bad thing, but it's just interesting how it barely showed up at the beginning and now it's like all I taste. It just kind of transformed into that. Anyway, okay, questions, comments, anything you want to talk about, now is the time. I wanted to talk a little bit about the tea festival. The Chicago Tea Festival is coming up in about a month and a half. Yeah, about a month and a half. So tickets are still on sale, and tickets to my class, Sensuality, discovering the 5 dimensions of enhancing your flavor, your taste buds, or something like that. I didn't write a subtitle to it, but I'm sure I could come up with something eventually. But the tickets are still on sale. We have, I want to say, 13 left from my last count. I haven't been there in a couple days, so I don't know if anybody bought more tickets. But as far as I know, they are available. So if you are in the Chicago area and you want to check it out, I absolutely recommend this experience because it adds another dimension to tea appreciation. You know, and not allowing you to take for granted the full experience and the things that you miss out because you're not really in the moment. Ooh. Getting spiced. My nose is still stuffy. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. So thank you all so much for joining me. This has been an incredible experience. I will be posting the link in the description if there is one. I haven't looked at their website in a while, and I know that this was sold live, so I don't know if it's on the website. But if it is, I will put the website on the description. And I hope you try it out for yourself. Until next time, have a great night, a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you later. Bye.